Hope everyone had a good time at the show. Hey, Mandy and John, you guys can feel free to start calling out people for questions, but I'll stay and try to get as many answers as I can for people who travel. I really appreciate everyone being here. It's very awesome being back in Vegas where we started everything 4 years ago, the 5th Double or Nothing. Thought we started out hot and ended. Oh no.
All right. Let's talk about it, man. Best singles dog collar match of all time. Check. Best Iron Man match of all time. Fucking check. Jesus Christ. I thought Jay White had trouble with this fucking thing.
Let's talk.
Could be because of the wrist. Best fucking four-way match. Fucking triple check. But people are still going to hate. They can't help themselves. I mean, I get it. Who the fuck wants to look in the mirror and go, yeah, there's a 27-year-old child who's the best professional wrestler in the world when I've accomplished close to nothing in my fucking life. So I get why AEW fans are so fucking hot. I get it, Tony. I really do. But I don't fucking feel bad for you. It's not my fault. I was just born to do this. Am I supposed to apologize for that, Tony Khan? I don't think so. That was a fucking rhetorical question. What I would like is non-rhetorical questions. That's what I would love. Also, anybody see what I beat Darby Allin with for a second time? Can somebody remind me real quick in the room? What was the maneuver? Oh, that's right. I beat Darby Allin twice with a fucking headlock takeover. Holy shit. That's embarrassing. You know, it's funny. It's getting to the point where I feel like me beating my competition with a headlock takeover kind of sums up my competition in general in this company. You're running out of motherfuckers to get that belt off of me. No offense. And it's getting fucking sad. Questions?
Righteous Reg,
Yeah.
Draft City Podcast.
Yeah, I know
Pro
you.
Wrestling
Yeah.
Illustrated.
Now I work with your friend, unfortunately. He's kind of a piece of shit. You can laugh. It's fine.
Off a rip. Max, come on. I thought he was nice. Yeah, okay. Righteous Reg, PWI, Draft City Podcast.
You know,
Max.
Why do you have to do that every time?
I mean, because I have to let him know, Max.
Whatever, man.
You're the AEW World Champion, Max.
Yeah, no shit. Triple B. Best
But
in the world. Yeah.
you weren't the last match of the show.
You're right.
Does that hurt you? Does that make you upset?
No. Why the fuck would I want to roll around in John Moxley's blood? I'm fucking good on that, okay? No thanks. Also, realistically, whether it's this company or WWE, I think the world title having to go on last kind of is dead in wrestling. And also now, how many pay-per-views has the world title not going on last in this company?
Well, Double or Nothing several times that you were actually in the Stadium Stampede that went on
that's true. That's
after the world title at Double or Nothing
Yep, I'm a big
2021
boy.
and
That's
also
true.
in 2020, John Moxley versus Brody Lee.
Yep.
So, you know, at Double or Nothing, actually 3 out of the 5 years we've ended it with a wild multi-person match like this. And to have the world champion out there in a great match, I thought certainly there was a precedent for it, but the match itself was unprecedented. It was a great match.
But yeah, I'd rather not run around in all that fucking mid-blood. Like, can we get real quick? That's fucking disgusting. Wheeler Yuta was in that match. You think I want to roll around in Wheeler Yuta blood?
He was the only person who didn't bleed tonight, I think.
Did he not bleed?
Match. He was the only one, I think.
Wow. Congrats. All right. Next.
Dominic D'Angelo, adfreeshows.com. And I also work for Kevin Nash. Click this podcast.
Kevin Nash. I know
Yes.
Kevin. He's a big mark for my shit. He's also literally
He's a big dude.
mark. Yeah.
He's a big
big. He's very big.
But the question I kind of wanted to tie into that.
Yeah.
What do you kind
Your
of see?
eyes are kind of like this, so it's hard. Which one do you want me to look at?
This one.
Okay.
go with
The
this
left
one.
eye.
Left
Well,
eye
it's
works
my
better.
left, your right.
Yes.
His right eye.
Yeah.
That's all right. So, question I kind of have though is when it comes to the younger stars and some of the people that you work with, and you said it yourself, there's like not a lot of competition happening there.
Uh-huh.
What do you think people could learn? Younger talent could kind of learn from somebody like a Kevin Nash or somebody with the mindset that you kind of have for wrestling.
I think what you can learn is what we're seeing now. I posted on social media, and social media is a dirty, dirty drug these days. I almost wish I never go on social media because it's filled with, let's be honest, 7%. This is actually a factual stat that I'm hitting you with. 7% of our audience, overall audience, is using Twitter. It's essentially an echo chamber. And when you think about professional wrestling takes, I liken it to somebody going to a restaurant, eating the food, and then bothering to get on their phone and write a Yelp review. Raise your hand if you've actually written a Yelp review. There's not a single person in the room who's done that because that's fucking lame as shit. And you should have better time, like, to do other shit. Grow the fuck up. But I posted something on the dirty social media, and I said what I wish people would learn is wrestling fans are bloodthirsty, disgusting marks that don't care about our well-being, right? Nobody gives a fuck that my forearm's fucked. You don't care. You were just fucking amped that you saw me fucking dump Darby Allin on his head. Granted, so was fucking I. But still, you don't give a fuck about us. You pretend you do, but you don't give a fuck about us. You care about us just as much as, I don't know, the fucking leader of the Romans cared about his fucking gladiators. You don't give a shit. So what I wish young guys would understand and learn is you get way more out of being a charismatic phenom than you do out of fucking risking your life trying to do a maneuver that, quite frankly, might not win you the match. Now, for me, every single thing that I do in professional wrestling is very meticulous because every single thing I do is to try to win. I'm not trying to waste my fucking time out there. Now, I will do some things to prove a fucking point, like a fucking headlock takeover, but I digress. Stop being fucking idiots. These people don't pay your salaries. Grow up. Next question.
Hi, Xenia from Xenia to That.
I know you.
So we recently saw a lot of open challenges. Orange Cassidy issued an open challenge before the pay-per-view. We've been seeing the House of Black open challenges. How do you feel about that? Would you issue an open challenge?
Feels like work fucking smarter, not dumber. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. Why the fuck? Dude, again, let's talk about bad takes. MJF needs to wrestle more. Every time I wrestle, first of all, it's a fucking classic. So I don't have a point to fucking prove. I wrestle when I literally have to. I don't get paid by the fucking hour. Do I get paid by the fucking hour?
No.
Nope. I get paid by a winner's motherfucking purse. Right? But when you're the world champion, that winner's purse is fucking fat, dude. So I don't have to wrestle all the fucking time. So let that Mark Orange Cassidy wrestle every single fucking week. I'm a star. I don't need to wrestle every fucking week. I wrestle when I feel like it. Next question.
Hi, Mark Hoke, the Mark Hoke Show, 1015 FM K-Don here in Las Vegas. Congratulations on your victory tonight, sir.
Congrats on having type 3 diabetes, Mark. How may I help you?
Not quite.
Pretty
quite.
fat, but it's okay.
It's
What's your
all good.
question?
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, you just said to Tony that you're running out of challengers. What do you want your next challenge to be?
I don't give a fuck, man. Fuck. I'm just going to pin him and he's going to pay me, and that's the end of the story. And look, you want to get real? Okay. I think everyone's scared. Point blank. I think people in this company are afraid to wrestle me because they know that I'm going to outclass them on the microphone and in the ring. If there is a matchup that you think should happen, the reason it hasn't happened is because they are terrified of getting outclassed by me. Done. Next question.
Harry Ruiz with Raider Nation Radio. Max 4 years ago.
You got like Dumbo ears, man. Anybody ever tell you that?
Actually,
like
I have.
fucking...
4 years ago,
Yeah.
you participated in the first ever match in
Mhm.
AEW history here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Now you just defended your title again, but now here in the city where it all started. What has been your biggest challenge in those 4 years to get to where you are right now, being the biggest champ?
Brian Alvarez, stop smiling so much at me. I'm not gonna stop. What a weirdo. How does it make me feel? And what was a challenge? Is that what you had? I'm sorry. Your ears were fucking freaking me out. The biggest challenge, frankly, is cementing a legacy, because pro wrestling fans have never been more fickle in the history of this sport. And I think we can all agree on that. 1 week, I'm the best professional wrestler in the world. The next week, I'm the drizzling shits. And that's not just me. That's every single professional wrestler on the planet. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because we have everything like this. I want food. Press a button. It comes to your house, just like your limp dick. I want something off Amazon. I'm not going to do it again to the table because you're going to look stupid if I do it again. Boom. You press something, it comes to your house. I want to talk to somebody. You go on your phone, you text them. It gets sent to them immediately. We live in a new world. So people want instant gratification. Right now. I want it great right now. What? I don't believe in that. I believe in the sport of professional wrestling. I believe in things being built to. I believe in contenders for me being built up so they are worthy of a match. I don't believe in just throwing myself out there to appease you people like a dancing fucking monkey. That is not my job, and it never will be. So, yeah.
Hello, Michael Sidgwick from What Culture Wrestling. You've expressed your disdain.
I just want to time out. One of the only professional wrestling podcasts that's actually worth a fuck. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you very much, Max. Yeah. You've expressed your disdain for New Japan Pro Wrestling quite frequently.
God, yeah.
Who would you like to defeat at Forbidden Door?
If you're going to wrestle in Forbidden Door? Fuck that.
To prove that you're better than that promotion.
Oh, God. It's a fucking indie fed, dude. I don't know, man. Jesus Christ. Look, with all due respect, their greatest legend probably couldn't lace my boots. I think I would make anybody on that roster look silly, and I don't want to waste my time. I'm a very busy man. There's your answer. I think New Japan Pro Wrestling sucks, except that Great O'Khan guy. He pops me. I like him. But everybody else there is the drizzling shits. I don't know. It reminds me of just like a local indie fed.
Here we go. Last question.
Hey, MJF, the schmo with the schmozome. Nice to see you. You look good. Got a question for you. You're raising up your profile every day. You're trying to make a legacy for yourself. But what do you think it's going to take that next step over the top to have the name to be one of the greatest this sport's ever seen?
Okay. I'm already there. Next question. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Schmo.
Schmo.
If I literally retired today, this is not hyperbole. I've had one of the best professional wrestling runs in the history of the business. That's a fact. Best oratory exhibitions, best Iron Man match, best singles dog collar match. Tonight I just had the best four-way. And also some of the best rivalries in the history of the sport. Cody Rhodes, Wardlow, CM Punk, Danielson, and that's just to name a few. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I called it quits, I've had a Hall of Fame career, which is why, quite frankly, when I say take my ball and go home, earmuffs, Tony, everybody thinks I'm talking about WWE, right? And now, does Nick Khan want me to fucking work in his company? Sure. Does Triple H want me to work in his company? Sure. Calm down. Everything's fine. Or maybe it's not. But I'm kind of bored of this sport, and I'm bored of the lack of respect from professional wrestling fans. So when I say take my ball and go home, I mean literally just hang it up and fuck up the lineage of this title. Because frankly, I don't know if anybody's worthy of beating me for this thing. Now, I'm not just going to hand it away. Why the fuck would I do that? I earned this thing. So please, by all means, take it off of me. Somebody put me out of my fucking misery. But until then, we'll see what happens.
Thank you, MJF.
Sick.
Bye, Tony. Oh, you suck, Max. Don't forget.
As we were saying, that was one great championship match with four great wrestlers who all got their start here in our first year. So as I was saying, it's great to be back here in Las Vegas where it all began for us 4 years ago at the original Double or Nothing. The 5th edition of the show, I thought, featured some great wrestling. It started great and ended with great matches, great moments. And right before that great four-way match, we had exciting title change. Speaking of open challenges and fighting champions. So I do believe that the new TBS champion is here. And with that, the new TBS champion, Chris Statlander. Congrats.
Thank you. Don't mind me with my robot legs over here. Sorry.
You got a belt holder here
Oh,
for you?
this is also new.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I like your last year or so and the recovery and the timetable and how everything went from surgery to today.
I would say the timetable went about as expected. I think a lot of people were. I had mentioned that it was 6 to 8 months of a recovery, but people were forgetting that it was 6 to 8 months post-op. But it's a very long process. It takes a long time for these types of injuries to heal, but it gives you a lot of time to mentally prepare to come back and do something as crazy as this. So a lot of ups and downs on a recovery like this, a lot of self-doubt, and but then sometimes you get moments like this, nights like tonight, and it makes it all worth it.
Jack Farmer with Wrestling Inc. Congratulations today on the big win. As mentioned, you had an interesting year coming up to this. Are you a little worried that now that you've won the championship, you're going 0 to 100 right away with this win?
Maybe, but also with the type of preparation that I've done, I was very quiet about this one around. And if you guys had only seen the things that I've been doing leading up to today, you would be like, oh, she's been ready for this. And I know I kept it under wraps, but I just really wanted this, my return to be a very special moment, not just for me, but for everybody else. So it is kind of just jumping right off to the deep end, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't feel prepared for it.
Hi, Amy Nemedy with WrestleJoy. First, welcome back, Chris. We have all missed you very much, and we've all been waiting for you to come back. Congratulations as well. My question to you is, Jade Cargill has been on an undefeated streak as the TBS champion, the sole TBS champion since the championship was announced. I'd love to know how you see your reign as TBS champion and how that might be different from Jade's, or how you would like to represent the division and the brand as champion. Thank you.
I would say, aim for the stars, and just hopefully I could have a reign as long as hers. And if that doesn't happen, I want it to be fulfilling, not just for me, but for the company, for the fans. I want everything that I do to mean something. And it's I don't want to say it's been a long time coming, but I had to blow out 2 knees to get here. And a lot of times in recovering from injuries like that, and just seeing a lot of people thinking that ACL tears are a death sentence to a career, but not knowing that they aren't anymore, it gets to you. And I've said a lot of self-doubt a lot of times, but I'm going to not only prove to everyone that I do deserve to be a champion, but I'm going to also take the time to prove to myself that I deserve to be one.
Hi, Chris. Denise Salcedo with Instinct Culture. So you mentioned the ACLs, that being a death sentence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing whether or not you can kind of come back from that, and having suffered it twice. So with that being said, can you walk us through the mental struggles on top of making sure that you're ready to come back and that you feel prepared coming back?
Sure. So this time it was a lot easier of a journey, having gone through it before. And originally we thought that it was an ACL and a meniscus tear, but it was just an ACL. And what that means with recovery is that I was in my leg brace walking around 2 days after surgery, not on crutches. And with a meniscus tear, you would not be able to do that. So mentally, I felt like the progress was a lot more just on a upward thing. And it was a lot easier because I'd been through this, like I had said. And I remember when it happened, we thought it was maybe just a hyperextension. And then I got the MRI, and then I got the results, and I read them, and I just cried for like 3 hours straight because I was like, oh, I told myself so many times I did not want to go through this again, and I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. But I cried it out, got myself together, and I was like, I just got to come back from this. It's not as much, not that it's not a big deal, but if you really want something and you just work hard for it, it'll pay off. And yeah, it'll pay off. Thank you.
Corey Lieb with the Wrestling Observer. Now, last year was almost a big turning point at this exact weekend. You had that match with Ruby Soho at Rampage where the crowd went crazy for you and were very upset when you did lose. Looking back on it now, going back, obviously, getting that reaction, and then sooner, with the knee injury, and then coming back tonight and ending Jade's streak. Did that kind of cross your mind when you were out here tonight, or was it, just part of the journey?
Everything that we do is part of the journey, I would say. But it did cross my mind thinking, coming back to a place where I was like, man, Las Vegas is where I had my first ever main event for AEW. And so many things have changed in 1 year. I don't want to say it's been a full circle moment, but I remember that reaction from last year, and I was like, man, they really like me. And sometimes you don't always hear it in those moments. Like tonight, I could not hear a thing because my mind was just like, oh my God, so much is going on right now. But when I get to watching it back, I'm very in the moment when I'm in the moment, and then I'll look back on things and be like, wow, you guys are very good to me. So thank you everyone that's here.
Damon Cotton, Raider Nation Radio. You are now the 1-60-1. Would you want that rematch immediately with Jade, or does she got to work her way back up to get another shot?
I would be fine with either, considering I kind of just had my shot tonight, even though it was her second match. But she put the challenge out, and I was the one ready to answer it and overcame it. If she wants the rematch right away, I'm back better than ever, ready to go. If she wants to take some time off and regroup, also acceptable. I'm all for anybody and anybody coming up and getting a shot at the title whenever they're ready.
Steve Fall from 10 Count. Now you came out huge pop. Now I know when wrestlers step away for a little while, they're nervous when they show up. Maybe if someone forgot you somehow. But when you came out and the place went crazy, how are you feeling?
Ooh, all day I was like, man, I cannot wait to get this over with because I have drank so much caffeine today and just sat and just felt my heart. I have like a heart rate tracker, and it says that it tracked an activity for an hour, and I was out there for maybe a minute or two, and that's just how much my heart was racing. But I was just like, I did it to myself. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to not be forgotten. I wouldn't say I feared I would be forgotten because I had constantly seen so much online love for my eventual return. I feared that in my head I didn't deserve to have this big of a moment because I haven't been here. I've maybe had about a total of 18 months that I've been gone due to injuries, and I was like, I know I work hard. I know I work hard at home coming back from these injuries, and I feel so terrible that I can't consistently be on TV because of these injuries, but I know that I'm putting everything that I have into something like this. But tonight definitely proves that it was all worth it, and I do deserve it.
Hi, Alicia, Women's Wrestling Talk. So we love you. We're so happy you are back and champion. We have been wanting this for a long time. you know, you were gone for injury. Was there any time, you reflected a lot, and how was that injury process for you? Was it just focusing, or was there a little bit of enjoyment to break it down and kind of reflect on who you wanted to be?
Oh, I was miserable the whole time. I especially like I went through it once, and it was totally different world because it was during COVID. We didn't have any fans. I did think, I was like, okay, so I already came back coming out of a claw machine one time. How am I going to top that another time? So there was a lot of thinking about that, about like, what can I do to top that? And I think this did a pretty good job, but yeah, there was a lot of misery just because of how much I love being here and being on the road and just being a part of something. And it really sucks when you can't do something that you love, and just to have it taken away from you. And I would be here as much as I could just to be a part of it and to support everyone. And at first I felt like I was just in the way, and I was like, why did I even bother to come here? I can't do anything. But then everyone was like, no, we love you. We want you here. I was like, okay. And then now just seeing everyone backstage and seeing the reaction, I was like, man, they do love me. And it's very special. So even when it's very sad, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Cody. Thank you. Don't mind me. All my things. Thank you.
Well, that's great. From one great champion who is very popular, had an exciting return, to her best friend, who's also a great champion and had a very exciting match tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy.
I've never done this before. What is that for? The belt?
Yeah, the belt goes there. That's a microphone.
Okay.
Good. Off to a good start. Sorry, Denise.
There you go.
Thank you. Michael Sidgwick from What Culture Wrestling. Last year, you wrestled Ethan Page in Detroit, site of WrestleMania 3, and beat him with a body slam. Was that a cheeky nod and wink to the insufferable old school people who criticize you, or do you just not care?
No, I just saw a man bigger than me, and I was like, I could body slam him. So I did it. Thank you, though.
Dominic D'Angelo, adfreeshows.com. Congratulations. And secondly, how do you kind of find the balance of when to turn it on and when to kind of keep it casual?
That's a great question. I guess the best way I could say this is I don't know. Sometimes I just got to do it. I think I'm nailing this.
It's a good start. Off to a good start.
Hello, Orange. Amy Nemedy with WrestleJoy. I believe this is your 23rd title defense. And I counted on Cage Match before I came here to make sure I got that right. But you faced 20 other opponents in the ring tonight. Some of them are former opponents in your title defenses. So I was curious about your thoughts in preparing for a match like of that caliber, to be standing there fighting through 20 people and still coming out strong as champion. And of course, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I mean, it's really every week or every other week I've been defending this championship. And it's like one after another. Just so many people want a shot at it. I said to myself, let's just get them all in there and let's just take care of this. I mean, I hope there's no one left, but there probably is.
Yeah.
I figure out like, it's a really long list, right? I feel like I just knocked out 20 of them, and then I guess wait for the next one. I feel weird now. I should probably fix it.
Oh, it's okay. I can take it out of your check.
Okay. Look at that. Nailed it, John. No, look, I got it. Is it upside down?
No.
It's upside down. Thank you.
Damon Cotton, Raider Nation Radio. How much pride do you take in being the workhorse champion of the company at this point, where every week you're going in, you're defending your title? I mean, tonight against about 20 other guys, how much pride do you take in being that workhorse?
When I won the All Atlantic Championship from PAC, was that October?
Yeah.
My goal was really just to beat PAC because that guy. And then with that victory, I won the All Atlantic Championship. And I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know what I was supposed to do or what it represented. So I just did what I normally do, and I made it whatever I wanted. And then I decided, if you want to wrestle me, I will wrestle you. If you want a shot at this, come take it. And I never envisioned it being with a workhorse championship. It's just, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it every single week. And do I take pride in it? I don't know. Not really. Ooh. That was a great answer, apparently.
It was very enlightening.
Hi, Mark Hoke from the Mark Hoke Show on KDON 101.5 FM here in Las Vegas. You've gone from the guy in the pockets to becoming one of the most dominant champions in AEW. What do you attribute your improvement to over these past few years?
So I don't know the right word for this because I don't want to give away. Well, it's too late. I show you what I want to show you, and then I'll use what I have to use that I know when I want to. Does that make sense? Somebody will write it out, and then it won't make any sense. But it sounded good in my head when I said it.
Congratulations on your title win tonight. Xenia from Xenia did that. We've seen you tag with a lot of people. Recently, you've been tagging with Bandito and, of course, as best friends. So I was wondering if you're interested in pursuing maybe the tag team titles or the trios titles at the same time.
I mean, I don't know. Like if the opportunity comes, I'll do it. I mean, Darby and I seem to be doing pretty well together. Yeah, Bandito. I mean, hey. If the opportunity comes up, for sure, I'll get after it. I'm sure the backpack can fit multiple championships in it. I'm almost certain it can.
Andrea Sales Sporting News. Orange Cassidy, congratulations. Trent saved you tonight. Big Bill was attempting to eliminate you, and Trent saved you. How do you pay Trent back for what he did?
I mean, I'm probably gonna have to give him another title shot. My neck still hurts from the first one. Yeah, I did technically win, but I also had a lot of friends in there, like Bandito, Chuck, and Trent. Chuck actually didn't smash me off the apron. I kind of got out of the way at the last minute. He kind of helped me out too. Trent clearly took a enormous boot to his face, and he has a boot print on his face for it. Believe me, he told me. But I know I definitely know how fortunate I am to have a group of people around me that can support me, because I wouldn't have this championship without them.
Righteous Reg, Pro Wrestling Illustrated and Grab City Podcast. Congrats on your win, Orange. You are the international champion, and coming up very soon, Forbidden Door. A lot of people are going to be on the card. I know you don't really care about who's next, but do you have any maybe dream opponents? I know a lot of people have been interested in seeing you and Naito maybe go at it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know, if you know me, I just never want to wrestle. And I wrestle when I have to. So to say like, oh, you want to wrestle? Who do I wrestle in New Japan? Nobody. I'd rather I could watch. But there is a dude that's been sneaking around ROH, and he calls himself a television champion of Zack Sabre Jr. And yeah, I'd fight him.
Adrian Hernandez, Odyssey Sports. Orange, how does Orange Cassidy celebrate in Vegas after stealing the show?
Probably gonna lose a bunch of money playing slot machines, maybe. I don't know. I think my other good friend Statlander and I will with Chuck and Trent, we're gonna celebrate somewhere. I don't know. Hopefully it's like 5 minutes so then I can go in my bed and sleep.
Alicia, Women's Wrestling Talk. You always open the show. You open the show tonight. Is that a strategic plan to get back in that bed, like you said, or is that?
I was trying to help him out.
I mean,
Tony, is that a strategic plan?
Well, I know you're a early riser. You're known as you're not an early riser, but early to bed and late to rise.
That's not my decision.
It's worked very well, I think.
Hey, Ruiz with Raider Nation Radio. Being the most dominant champion in AEW, does it interest you to go for the championship, the World Heavyweight Championship against MJF?
I mean, I care about this championship. I think this is the most important thing to me right now. And I'm going to continue to defend it, and I will put all my energy into defending it. I don't know what the future is with me going after anything else because I never know what I'm feeling from day to day. But and by the way, that guy he barely wrestles. So I don't know if he even I don't want to talk about it.
You have a last question?
He said he called me a mark.
Hey, Orange. Matt Carlins from Wrestling Inc. Do you think you're one of the best wrestlers in the world?
No. Not even close. Thank you, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope I break it on the way out.
Close enough. Close enough. Well, that was a great press conference from a great champion. And speaking of great champions, the new AEW Women's World Champion, second time holding the championship.
Tony, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
How are you?
Congratulations, champ.
Thank you. It's pretty good, huh? Thank God Jamie's not champion anymore.
Oh, I think she's been a great champion too, and she's unfortunately in recent weeks in particular, her reign has been marred by injuries inflicted by you and the people around you.
Yeah. Well, I guess she just couldn't handle it. I guess she's not made of the right stuff. I guess she's weak. I guess Japan taught her absolutely nothing. So thank God she's not champion anymore. Because she was starting to attract flies. So you're welcome.
Hi, Tony. Alicia, Women's Wrestling Talk. Congratulations on your second title win. How are you going to how is this reign going to be different from your first?
Well, the thing about my first reign, like the kind of person that I was when I first became champion here, well, I was a bit of a pushover. I didn't really stand up for I used to deal with a lot of bullshit, and now I don't. I don't take crap from anyone, whether that's Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, nobody. I've got a really great group of women guiding me and helping me and supporting me, and so that's why it is not going to be the same. I am not going to be taking crap like I did last time, because that is how I lost this in the first place.
Corey Lee with the Wrestling Observer. We're going to be coming up on Forbidden Door in a couple of weeks. Is there do you have anybody you would like to face on that show, either from New Japan Strong? Obviously, Willow is now the new New Japan Strong champion, or also from Stardom, or any other, or from AEW, at least in that sense.
I mean, if it's from Stardom, then just give me the best dojo dweller they got. Give me like the Sky Blue equivalent of Stardom girl. Just whoever they got lying around in there. Yeah, whatever you got for me. Sky Blue. Just give me Sky Blue. I'll just beat the crap out of her. Whoever. Yeah, it's just gonna end the same way. Doesn't really matter, does it?
Hi, Tony. Amy Nemedy with WrestleJoy. First, congratulations on your win tonight. So you and Jamie Hayter have a really interesting history together. So she won the title off of you at Full Gear. I believe this is your first singles match together with her since then. You've done a lot of tag matches, of course, with the Outcasts and the Homegrowns. I'm curious, once she recovers from the injuries in which you have given her over the course of the last few weeks, how are you going to be prepared to face her at full strength again? Are you concerned about that? Is there anything that's on your radar? What are your thoughts on Jamie Hayter now that you've become champion with this win?
Full strength? Like, is she ever going to be full strength again after what I've done to her? I really don't think so. No, in fact, I think she might quit. I think she's done. I think that's it. Do you seriously think we're going to see her again? I'm just going to put her through hell all over again. So, yeah, that's it. Congrats, guys. Jamie Hayter's done. Jamie Hayter's done. It's great. It's a wonderful thing. I'm so happy. It's good. Next. Anyone else?
Hi, John Arciola with Screen Rant. When the Outcasts were formed, Saraya, I remember, said that the goal was to take over. Do you consider this championship the fulfillment of that goal?
Oh yeah, this would probably be one of many. When we said we were taking over AEW, we seriously meant it. Yeah, no, we're not dicking around. Yeah, and the reign of terror is just going to continue. This is just the beginning, to be honest.
Harry Ruiz with Raider Nation Radio. How much of a difference was there in that moment when you got crowned today the women's champion than the first time when the title had an interim tag next to it, but you defended it in a fantastic way throughout those months?
Oh, it felt extra special this time because, I mean, I'm sure we can all agree the interim thing was bullshit, right, Tony? Crazy. That was a tough, terrible time. So it feels great because this is what it should have been the whole time. Wouldn't you say? Right? Nothing. Okay. Cool. Fine.
Hi, Tony Seafall from 10 Count. Are we going to ever see maybe a women's blood and guts match? Because I think Outcast, you champions would be a good idea, Tony. Both Tonys?
What do you say, Tony? You want us to get bloody in there, huh?
At some point, it could be very good. We've seen a lot of blood spilled tonight. So at some point, that could be very interesting. I think there's a lot of exciting possibilities. Certainly right now, I think the Outcasts running roughshod, running very strong, and we'll have to see. Definitely Jamie Hayter could be looking at some time on the shelf, though, after what you did to her.
For sure. I mean, regardless if we do a blood and guts match, there will be blood and guts, period, no matter what. So,
Hi, Tony. Jack Farmer with Wrestling Inc. Congratulations on the win today. As mentioned earlier, one of the goals of the Outcast was to run roughshod and take over. You've got the championship. What specifically is next for the Outcast? Is it getting more gold, adding more members? What can we expect from you guys starting now?
I think you're just gonna continue to see the same violence every week. You know, the same bullshit every week. It's gonna be great. And now that I'm on this momentum, now that I've taken back what is rightfully mine, it's only gonna get worse for all the women in the locker room, every single one of them. And I think they should look at Jamie Hayter as a really good example as to what can happen to them.
Tony, Mercedes Moné is out. She's a free agent right now. Obviously, she's injured. But do you have any interest in either teaming with her in your group or defending your championship against her some point down the line?
Either. I mean, I don't know about the group. I don't know if she's outcast material, but I mean, I whoop her ass as well. Break her other foot. It'll be good.
Final questions? Right here? Okay.
Hi, Tony. Congratulations on your victory tonight. Mark Oak from the Mark Oak Show, 101.5 FM, KDAWN here in Las Vegas. You mentioned the other women in the locker room. Well, there's one who just lost a title tonight that may consider taking a step up and coming after you, and that's Jade Cargill. What would you think about having to face her?
I mean, Chris Statlander just beat her, so bring it on. Yeah, I'll slap the tits right off her chest as well. I don't care. She's yeah, feed me Jade, Tony. Come on, give me Jade. Yeah. Oh, no, that's a good time for her right now, considering she just lost. Maybe she'd like to lose again. Yeah, it'll be nice.
Last question for Jamie.
And for one more for Tony.
For Jamie,
Anybody?
any questions for Jamie?
Freudian slip.
I'll pass them on.
She's been a great
A
champion.
local hospital. Are you sure?
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Congratulations,
Hey,
Tony.
let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Congrats.
Do I have to carry this, or does someone want to like put it on me?
We can get it brought out for you if you'd like.
Okay, yeah. You just...
All right, John, take it to her. Bring it to her locker room, please. Thank you, John. Congratulations. Well, there's a great world champion, and I'll be joining one final guest tonight. Speaking of the great champions in wrestling, it'll be one of the greatest champions ever in wrestling, and somebody who was victorious in a big match tonight. Somebody very, very important in AEW. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here's Bryan Danielson.
Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
This has nothing to do with AEW actually, but I was just wondering your thoughts about Brian Dixon, because we just heard that he passed away today.
Oh, so I just heard that, I don't know, midday. Makes me really sad. So for those of you who don't know who Brian Dixon is, he's a promoter in the UK. So I had gotten let go from WWF in 2001. You know, you're really looking for places to work around the world, you know, trying to make a full-time living wrestling, and it's really hard. Dixon gave me that opportunity, and it was only 50 pounds a show, but we would wrestle 6 or 7 nights a week. And I went there in 2003 for 6 months. He paid me 50 pounds a show. And if he would have given me a little bit more money, I would have never left. I ended up going back again in 2005 and 2008. And I can't thank that man enough. He's I'm very grateful for him, and I'm sad that to hear he passed away. That was a somber question to start this thing. I was ready to come in and talk about blood, and now I'm sad.
Ryan, Dominic D'Angelo, adfreeshows.com. Wanted to ask, Tony mentioned on the conference call a little bit that you're kind of helping creatively behind the scenes a little bit. Kind of want to get your insight on that and how that process has been for you, what you've kind of been doing. And then as a quick follow-up, speaking of booking, what book are you currently reading?
Okay, so the book that I'm currently reading, I read 3 books at the same time. So I typically read something that's nonfiction educational. Right now, I'm trying to read more business books and also kind of motivation books, not for me, but to help talk to people and understand people better as far as that sort of thing. So I was reading a book called Originals. Now I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits, which somebody told me I should have read a long time ago. Not super impressed. Sorry, James Clear. Usually read a poetry book, and I usually read a fiction book. So right now I'm reading The 3-Body Problem for fiction, which is I think won a Hugo Award maybe. And so it's really good. It's a lot of physics stuff. If anybody's interested in physics, we can talk about that for an extended period of time. But the Feynman lectures are great, which I just finished as well. So yeah, that's what I'm reading. I forgot what your other questions were. Yeah. So I love working with Tony, and I love working in AEW, and it's a lot of fun because sometimes before I even got here, Tony and I would talk on the phone sometimes for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we'd just be talking about things and wrestling and that sort of thing. And I think we have very similar, we have a lot of similar ideas on wrestling. And sometimes he says things to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. And we riff off each other really well, which I mean, and it doesn't even, when we do it too, it doesn't really feel like work. It's it's like when you love wrestling, it's yeah, stuff like that is fun.
That's like the highest praise for me wanting to get in this business my whole life. I mean, that's like the highest praise in the wrestling business right now, that you can get that from Bryan Danielson. So it means a lot, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Righteous Reg, Grapsity Podcast. I'm sorry for being a mark, everybody. Bryan Danielson, you're the greatest professional wrestler of our generation, and we are privileged to be able to watch you do your thing anytime. You had a very busy schedule to start the year, but it's kind of been not as busy recently. How does it feel to kind of get back in there with this crazy plunder of a match? And would you want to beat up any of those guys again, specifically Kenny Omega, in another match one-on-one?
Yeah, to be honest, I think gosh, I'm really bad at remembering questions when they're that long. Yeah, so I was trying to go through my head as far as oh, what was the first question?
The first thing was just saying you're great.
Oh, first one, thank you very much. I mean, I really appreciate that. I appreciate a lot of you who have watched my career for a long period of time. And, a lot of people don't get as much positive feedback as they need. And I feel like my cup is overflowing. And so thank you guys for that. And then the second part. Oh, yeah. So I love brawling in the crowd. It's with the music playing. Like last year, even though I got hurt in the match, I loved it. And the live band this year was so great, and the energy in the arena, and so I love fighting and feeling like I'm in a fight. And I love the feeling of wrestling. To me, it's like you just feel it inside, right? And when you're in the crowd, it's even different, because it's like you get hit and you get punched, and it's like, oh, that sucks, but I just landed in a fan, and they're hitting your shoulders, and it's great, and it's I don't know, it just really makes you feel alive, right? And so I was thrilled.
Adrian Hernandez, Odyssey Sports. You seemed very eager to talk about violence, and you did bring up last year. Last year, someone almost was lit on fire. So in comparison with violence, how do you compare the violence meter of this year compared to last year's?
Yeah, I think now I would prefer to talk about the intensity, right? And sometimes I think part of this story is the BCC questioning the ability of the elite to get as intense as we can, right? That we have a question for them. You guys are guys who helped found this company, but this company has grown. And I mean, just look at the ticket sales for Wembley. Look at, we're getting a new 2-hour TV show, and the wrestling's grown too. And the wrestling's more intense, and we're more intense, and nobody's more intense than us. Can you match our intensity? Right? Was this match more violent? I don't know. Was it more intense? I think tonight, at least from my perspective, it was. Mm-hmm.
Brian right here. Damon Cotton, Raider Nation Radio. So I've got to ask you, man, I love that "Be Real" on the shirt. But when you come into a match like this, is there anything that you can tell the guys on your team, or whether it be Wheeler who got the actual pin tonight? Is there any preparation or everything that you know about wrestling? Just throw it out the window for this.
So, gosh, I'm so bad at social media. We had a talent meeting yesterday where we were talking about some social media things. And I actually, for the first time in a long time, I made Wheeler Yuta go on a hike with me today. I've been hiking every single day. The Red Rocks here in Las Vegas are unbelievable. Actually, Wednesday morning before Dynamite, it is 6+ mile hike up to Turtlehead Peak. But today I made Wheeler come with me as punishment for what he did on Wednesday for losing that match and just making a horrible pin attempt, that sort of thing. God, now I lost my own train of thought to the question. What was it again? I would get so invested in the hiking. Oh, yeah. I was preparing Wheeler for this, and I actually legitimately made him do push-ups and bridges on the Red Rock. And then I took pictures of it, and then I was going to put it on social media and tell everybody, this is what happens when you mess up and you train with the BCC. You think the elite guys are doing this when they mess up? No, they go, oh, sorry, brother. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. No, everybody does make mistakes. But when you make mistakes, you got a bridge on the Red Rocks. That's what you got to do. So yeah, that was my advice to Wheeler. And then also, Wheeler's been doing a great job. I just want to say that. I'm very thankful for AEW, the willingness to put people like Wheeler Yuta in this position. So if you think of like where Wheeler Yuta was a little over a year ago, and now he just beat Kenny Omega in the main event of a pay-per-view. And I'm really proud of him for that. I'm really proud of this company for that. You won't see that anywhere else.
Hi, Brian. Stephanie Chase from Digital.
Is that real leather?
No, it's actually not.
Oh, good. Okay. I wasn't going to answer your question.
Well, I wasn't going to tell you it was leather. So recently I spoke to Nigel McGuinness, and he was saying that if you sell out Wembley, he may have to come out of retirement. And he said his dream person would be you, given your history. So would you be up for a match with Nigel, his coming out of retirement match? What would it mean to you? And especially for it to be in the UK, where you guys had such a crazy match back in 2006 in Liverpool?
Yeah, I think Nigel McGuinness probably needs to shut his mouth a little bit, because I don't think at this point in his life he can handle the same intensity that he could in 2006. I mean, when you watch him on commentary, I think the world of him. I think the world of him as a wrestler, and I think the world of him as a commentator. But he no longer has the physical ability to match up with me. He did at one point, but here I am. I'm 42 years old. And it doesn't matter. I trained so hard to stay like this. He stopped training. And do you think you can catch back up in 3 months? No, you can't. I look at his neck and I think that I'd break it. And I'm only 185 pounds.
What's your resting heart rate?
My resting heart rate at nighttime is 42. I probably right this second, it might be low 50s, and that would be high. I also, at 42, scored the highest on the pistol squat score on our recent medical. So yeah.
Denise Salcedo, Instinct Culture. Brian, I want to ask you, the last time that we got to talk to you in one of these was when you came into AEW, when you made your debut. So with that being said, how would you describe or define this era of your career in AEW?
Oh gosh, it's really hard. I don't know. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing here and proud of the work that I've been able to do. I never thought I'd do another hour-long match again in my life. And I've done 2 of them, and I'm very proud of both of them. And yeah, and I'm proud of the work that we do here. I'm proud of the wrestling that we do here. I'm proud of a lot of the talent. Especially the younger talent. Like I just, when you feel like you start getting old, you see these people who, when I first got here, they came up to me and said, I watched you when I was a kid. And I was like, oh no. And, but then to see them grow in just the little over a year and a half that I've been here, it's so rewarding. And so, yeah, I've loved the experience. And I also, I've never been at a place where the company has so much heart for the wrestlers, and that is so meaningful and makes me feel so grateful for this place. Not only to have, like, it's great to have a second option, a competitor to the company that kind of had a monopoly on TV wrestling for the last however long, but to do it with such grace and to do it to be so successful so quick. I mean, look at how many tickets have we sold at Wembley at this point? Like, it's unbelievable. And it's just, I don't know. It just makes me feel proud just to even be here. So yeah, that's it.
Brian Andreas Hill, Sporting News. Opportunity. It's something that you spent your whole career. Sometimes you didn't get opportunities, but now you get the chance to not only give opportunities, but watch people get those opportunities. Can you talk about a few talent on this roster that you feel like is on the verge of getting an opportunity and who you like to work with to elevate them a bit?
So the hard thing is naming people, because then you're leaving people out, right? I can tell you, like, for example, when I see Roosh, I feel like, like, talking about intensity, I'm like, when I wrestled him, I was like, oh my God, but that was fun. And like, his intensity bleeds across the screen, right? I think the interesting thing, MJF likes to talk about the 4 pillars. He didn't talk about Wheeler Yuta, and he just won the main event of a pay-per-view. I think he needs to rethink who he thinks the 4 pillars are, So there's a lot of talented people on this roster, and to single out, 1 or 2 it's just hard.
Can I ask you about Takeshita? He
Yeah.
was involved in the main event today, and is he a part of Blackpool Combat Club, just like Wheeler? And
I had no idea he was going to do that tonight.
Jack Farmer with Wrestling Inc. You had mentioned younger wrestlers and you mentioned intensity. For all the younger wrestlers out there, whether it be in AEW or across the world, what's something that you look for beyond just intensity to stand out amongst their peers and amongst everyone in AEW?
So this is a hard question, because people who try to stand out right away are not usually, to me, the people who make it in the long run. This is a long game, right? And there are so many things that you can do right away to stand out. And when you do them, you don't focus on the basic things that you need to become a better wrestler. One of the reasons that I'm very high on Daniel Garcia, for example, is he focuses on the basics and expands. Now, he could do bigger moves, and he could do this, and he could do more of this, or whatever it is. And that would be an easier way to get attention at a younger age. But that's not the way to where he would be at 35. I think one of my fears with the younger guys who do so much stuff, but this is, this has always been happening with younger people. You slow down as you get older. But somebody like Daniel Garcia, who's focusing on the basics, he's getting better at all these different things, emoting in promos, doing all these different things. And so to me, it's a focus on the basics, and it's creating good habits to keep learning. And I think that's in any job. Whatever we're doing right now, whatever job you do, it's going to be changing in the next 10 years. So you need to have a good grasp of what the fundamentals are of your job or the thing that you love, and then expand on that and be able to pivot when the industry that you're in changes as well. And so I think that's the key. It's not so much like, hey, you need to do this. You need to be willing. One, wrestling is hard work. You need to train hard and know that it's going to be hard, and don't expect it to come super easy. And for some people, it will come easier than others, but I think that's them telling me I should shut up. But that would be my advice to younger wrestlers, is like, focus on the long game, focus on creating good habits as far as learning wrestling, and then work as hard as you can. And also, there's a lot of luck to being like in the position that I'm in right now. You mentioned Nigel McGuinness, and what I said may have sounded like an insult. You switch a couple things around, Nigel McGuinness would be right here as a however many time world champion instead of me, right? So there are some things that are hard work, and some things are just are partially luck too. So
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Yep. Thanks, man.
And before I leave, I just want to say thank you to all you guys who come and cover AEW and do such a great job with it. I mean, we really appreciate your support, and even some of the feedback that's not so positive. But it's but I appreciate all of you guys being here in the room and having this interest. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man. The GOAT.
Hey, Tony. Corey Lieb with Wrestling Observer. I want to ask a two-part question. We have the big show in London coming up, All In, which is a very, very big deal. But the next weekend usually is Labor Day for All Out in Chicago. Will that show still be on in Chicago? And then the second question is, you did mention that it will be All In will be broadcast. Is that going to be on Bleacher Report, or is that going to be on a WBD channel, or will it be a pay-per-view in regards to the All In London?
That's two great questions, Corey, but because of the nature of announcements and timing, they're things I can't really address yet, but they're things we definitely will address. It's just a timing thing. And in dealing with our network partners, I think I definitely want to respect their plans as far as timing and rolling out those announcements. But we'll definitely be talking more about what's coming the weekend after All In, and what's coming as far as how we're going to disseminate All In, how it'll be available to watch coming up August 27th, live from London. And it will be available live for everyone here to watch. And we'll get all that information out soon. Obviously, a lot of exciting things coming up. We wanted to get through tonight with Double or Nothing and all the exciting things on tonight's show. And then we have so much coming up next month in June with the launch of AEW Collision and, of course, Forbidden Door in partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we have a lot of big events coming up, and certainly also up in June, the launch of AEW Fight Forever. So it's one of the most important months ever in AEW this month. That's starting just days ahead. And I think we'll have a lot more to come about the two things you asked about, which are both great questions that in time we'll be able to answer about what's coming after All In, and also how people are going to be able to watch All In on August 27th. If you got another question, I feel bad I didn't get your question answered. I'm consistent. Thank you, Cora. I appreciate it. And who's next?
Tony.
Oh, hey, Dave.
Hey, how are you?
Great.
Two questions also. First one is basically a business question as far as the TV goes and everything. Is Collision, is there is how long of a deal do you have for Collision? Is it concurrent with the deal that you already have, or is it of a different length? And also, just for tonight, is there anything as far as crowd reactions? You know, did you feel something in different parts of the show as far as crowd reaction that made you think, hey, this was really interesting, the crowd did this, or something like that? As far as like all through the show, there's a lot of unique crowd reactions.
I definitely think so. Well, going through it, first of all, I'm not really supposed to get into all the specific details of the partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery, but I would say that the time that's left on the previous deal, the current deal, is the same duration as what we were doing before, and it's a new deal. It's a different scope than what we previously had with Warner Brothers Discovery, which is exciting for us. So it created a new opportunity for us to do another 2 hours of Saturday night live wrestling, and it's really going to change the company. But the length of the deal is the same as what we started with when we signed the extension in early 2020, right before the lockdown. As far as crowd reactions going through the night, I thought it was a great show. I really loved the opener. I thought the Battle Royal was very positively received. It was a great match with a lot of suspense, and I think I've seen some people saying it was one of the best battle royals ever, which I think is really great feedback, and very proud of everyone involved in that match, putting it together. And it was a great win for the champion, Orange Cassidy, who's had a lot of great matches, and I thought the crowd reacted very positively to him, but also to a lot of people in that match. There were a lot of moments in the match where I think it was very telling how the crowd reacted, but it was a very positively received match. After that, with Adam Cole and Chris Jericho, I think it was a brutal match. It was very intense. At the end, I think people want to see Adam Cole get more, even though he beat the hell out of Jericho. I think, there's still an appetite for him to get a decisive moment. And then you have Jericho, who's still very upset, threw a fireball backstage and wants another match with Adam Cole in a mixed tag that we are going to have on Wednesday on Dynamite. I think there was a huge reaction to Statlander coming back and winning the championship. I thought that was really what we wanted to see. I was not that surprised, and it was a great question earlier because it was last year, almost exactly 1 year ago here in Las Vegas, where we saw that massive reaction for Statlander right before she got injured, and it really derailed and changed plans. I thought it was great to see her come back and get such a positive reaction. Huge reaction for the last several matches. With the Pillars match, I thought the crowd was really into that. And really good reception for all four of those guys, like I wanted to see. Definitely for the final match, I thought the place was on fire for the final match of the night. So I thought Anarchy in the Arena was a big success. And overall, I really was happy to see a big reaction for the Takeshita reveal. I think that was really positive to hear. The crowd, went crazy and really bid on that. So that was pretty great. So overall, I thought it was strong for some of those big moments. And then as far as the deal going into Collision, I think it puts us in a really interesting place going into next month. Like I was just saying, I think it's one of the most important months business-wise in the history of the company, with the launch of Collision, the launch of AEW Fight Forever, and the Forbidden Door partnership coming up. So it's going to be a huge month, and definitely a lot of our big stars, I thought, really shined tonight. Thanks.
Braxton Selvey with LV Sports Biz. Vegas is where it all began for this pay-per-view. How special has this weekend been for you and AEW?
What a great question. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and I appreciate you being here, and I hope I haven't kept you up too late. And I know you've sat through some great interviews and some nasty people to get to ask that question. So thank you. I appreciate it very much. I really am very happy to be back here. It's amazing. Like you said, it was 4 years ago right here in Las Vegas where we really launched AEW. We did our very first ever show, and a lot of you who were here were at that same show. And I thought we had another great show tonight. I thought both shows had some really, really great highs. They both started out with a great hot match. And then there was some really great matches to close the show and great reactions to close the show. So I thought they were very similar in that respect. So I was very happy that we started hot, closed hot, and had a few classic matches on the back end of the show, just like we did on the very first Double or Nothing. As far as the moments being here back in Vegas, it was fun with a lot of the people who were on the crew to look back and say, like, here we are. It's been 4 years. It's amazing. This is the 5th Double or Nothing. It doesn't feel like it, possibly because for part of the time we were in Jacksonville for the lockdown. So we were doing the show for over a year in Jacksonville, and we actually did 2 Double or Nothing shows in Jacksonville in Daly's place. I thought they were great shows, but then last year when we came back here, it meant so much. And to be doing our 5th Double or Nothing, and it's the first time we've done the 5th of any of our shows. It's like the start of the 5th cycle of AEW effectively. It's pretty exciting. So it was a really special memory. And it also showed, kind of like what Bryan Danielson was saying, putting a different spin on it, how the company's changed and grown in a lot of ways, because a lot of the biggest names from the beginning of AEW were still here. In that Anarchy in the Arena match, you saw the best of the beginning of AEW with faces like the Young Bucks and Hangman and Kenny Omega, who've been here from the very first show. John Moxley came out at the end of that first show, but look how the company's changed since then. You've got a young star like Wheeler Yuta, like Brian said, who's started his career in AEW in that time and grown so far. And then we brought in 2 of the greatest free agents any wrestling company could ever bring in, with Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson. So that match alone exemplifies the growth. And then you look at the 4 Pillars match and see how far they've come in that time. I thought that was really cool. And the opening battle royal, we opened the first show 4 years ago with a battle royal. The battle royal tonight was much better. There was a lot of talent. They both featured 21 wrestlers. There was better talent and bigger names up and down the battle royal, and it was a better battle royal tonight, and it was tighter. And the show had, similar to the first show, I think there was a lot of high highs, and not everything is going to be perfect in every match, but I thought overall it was a really positive show, like the first Double or Nothing. So that was kind of what I was hoping to live up to, and I think we did. So I was really happy, and it was cool being back here. Thank you for asking.
Hi, Brandon Thurston, WrestleNomics.
Hey.
With the addition of Collision, it's a 2-hour show you're going to do every week. I have to think that adds probably tens of millions of dollars in annual expense. So is WBD giving you any extra money to offset that?
Yes, we're definitely being paid for Collision and being paid very well.
in addition to what you were already getting with Dynamite and
in
Rampage.
addition to what the Dynamite and Rampage, we got a new contract. I think it's fair to say it's more money, but it's the same length of time. And I was very excited about it. It was a big opportunity for us. It's certainly a very expensive thing to produce a great 2-hour live TV show, and on the weekend doing, it every week. It's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be great. I'm so excited about Collision. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be something really great for AEW. We have something really strong going with AEW Dynamite. We had a really strong TV rating this past week to get the 0.32. There's still some tough competition, and I think as the summer goes on, we have an opportunity to get back to where we were last summer. Last summer, we were consistently number 1 show on cable, number 1 or 2 every week. Was it like 17 weeks in a row? I think we were number 1 or 2 through the summer last year. So I think we have a chance to have another really hot run through this summer with Dynamite, but then start something really new with Collision. It's a great question. It was a great opportunity for the company to get more revenue, to do more TV, and also grow another brand in addition to what we do with Dynamite and Rampage and now Collision, and have 5 hours of television. So it will be some added production costs, and now we're not producing Dark and Elevation, so there is some cost savings there. But overall, there will be increased costs, but also it will definitely increase revenue through not only the ticket sales on Saturdays and the merch sales and all those things, but also, through license fees that we're making because of an incremental change, increasing our compensation for Collision. Thanks.
Righteous Reg, Grab City Podcast. Great show tonight. You've been talking a lot about Collision. Everybody's been asking a bunch of questions. Elephant in the room. You guys are going to be in Chicago on June 17th. CM Punk going to be there?
I can't tell you that. I think it's a great question, and I am not prepared to address that question at this time, but I think it's a great question. Not unlike questions Corey asked, the very good question to ask, and I think that's something a lot of people want to know. And as we get closer to the launch of Saturday Night Collision on June 17th on TNT, I think more and more things will come into focus about that show. But tickets are on sale for the United Center right now, and we're off to a great start with the initial sale, and I think it's only going to get stronger and could be one of the biggest TV shows of the entire year in terms of revenue, I expect, and also could be one of the most important TV shows of the year for AEW.
Phil Lindsay from Bleacher Report. Because my co-host asked the question that most of us want to ask, but how different was it booking United Center this time around as compared to the first time with Last Dance? And, what are the plans this time around that changed?
Well, the first dance was the first time we booked United Center, and then we actually went back, as you remember, for Forbidden Door. So I'm really excited about being back there again for what I hope will be another historic show. Those are both really historic shows. I think the first dance was actually the second episode of Rampage, but I think to come back and have those first few weeks with that kind of great energy, the spirit we captured those first few weeks, it was amazing. I think Collision will be an exciting opportunity. There's some big differences with Rampage. It's now Collision is going to be a 2-hour show. Collision is going to be live on Saturday nights, so it's also a weekend show, but it's in this 8 to 10 time slot. It's a really interesting opportunity for us, and I'm very excited about it. Also going to be focusing on doing the show live on a very typical basis, and we've got all these big live Collision events announced, and I think people want to know more about what to expect on Collision and what's going to be on the show, and I think it's good we're building that kind of anticipation and excitement. And I'll tell you, I'm excited. There are not a lot of people that know what to expect on Collision. I think it's going to be a great show, and it's going to be really good for the company. And to your point, I think it's different going back this time because it's a different precedent, a different kind of history we're starting. It's about a new show, building a new legacy for the company and a new era in many ways. And we're going to keep all the great things we're doing on Dynamite. And we've had some really great episodes in recent weeks. In this year, I think there's been some of the best episodes we've ever done this year. Just a couple shows we've done recently in the past, including, in Detroit, and then following up on that. And also, I think the show at the Forum this year earlier was excellent. Just had a lot of great shows. And I expect we can keep the high standard we've been doing on Wednesdays and hopefully even feed and do stronger shows also on Fridays for Rampage as a result. But I know that also what we do at Collision, it's going to be really important, and I'm really excited. And it's crazy. It's only weeks away. It's going to be a big deal. And so it was different booking the United Center this time versus the previous times, but also it's a different thing, because the first dance was an important event for us. Certainly the inaugural Forbidden Door is a very important event for us, and this launch of Collision is very important. So there's a lot of similarities, but they're all their own unique thing. Thanks, Phil. Hey, Brian.
Hey. So Max was asked about his match not going on last. And he said, well, I don't want to roll around in Moxley's blood. And I think that the world title going on last is antiquated. So I wanted to ask your opinion. Why did you decide to do Anarchy last? Did you always plan on having that go on last? Did you have something like, I'll think about it, day of the show or whatever? What was your mindset as to what went on last tonight?
Well, I always put a lot of thought into it. And, I'll go back to the first Double or Nothing we did in Jacksonville, and really both the Double or Nothings we did in Jacksonville. And it was a very similar thought process. The weekend of the show, looking at everything we've built, everything we've put together. And it felt like, I'll go back to the original Stadium Stampede. It felt like Stadium Stampede should go on last. And I remember talking to Moxley and Brody, and, certainly they had no issue with that. And they thought doing a double main event would be great. And it was. So John Moxley and Brody had a great main event. And then we went out and had a great double main event with the first ever Stadium Stampede. Then the next year at Double or Nothing, we went out and we had a 3-way match with Kenny Omega, Pac, and Orange Cassidy. It was a great classic world title match. And then we followed it up with the second Stadium Stampede. So we've had these big, wild, crazy multi-man matches. And actually, when you look at Double or Nothing historically, now this has almost become the norm, because 3 of the 5 Double or Nothing shows you've had with a double main event where you had the world title match, and it was first 2 wrestlers one-on-one with Jon Moxley, Brody Lee. That's a great match. And then you add the 3-way match the next year is the first part of the double main event with Orange Cassidy, Pac, and Kenny Omega. This year, the great 4-way match with MJF, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. And in each case, you ended with an amazing multi-person brawl. The Stadium Stampede we did in Jacksonville, different in a lot of ways, really different from what we do with Anarchy in the Arena, but it felt like going back to that, it might be the right way to go. And I think it worked really well. And just like those Double or Nothing shows, ended hot with back-to-back great matches. I thought we did it again tonight and ended with those hot back-to-back matches. That's become kind of a theme with Double or Nothing.
Hey, Jack Farmer with Wrestling Inc. We've talked a lot about new shows and the pay-per-view, obviously, but I'm curious about Fight Forever. And when it comes out, what does success look like to you for that game? Is it a sales number? Is it a critical review number? What does success look like for you for the video game coming out?
A number of different factors. And I think having really good sales, having it be positively received, and something that will reflect really well on the company. I think we've grown so much as a company that we're at a point where every step forward we can take, it's really great. But at the same time, we've built something that's so big that everything we can do to enhance it is good. But, every success, it's rare that we have a success that's so transformative that it transforms the entire company. But this is one of those projects that could potentially really be transformative. I think we have a chance to make a lot of new fans. I think we have a chance to make a ton of money. And I think it has a chance to really help the business. So we have a couple of major projects coming up that have actually been years in the making in AEW Fight Forever and AEW All In. Now, they're completely different things. One is a video game, but it's taken years to get to that point. And then one is a live stadium show. But again, it's taken years to get to that point. And we know that AEW All In, at least from a revenue standpoint, is going to be an unprecedented success. And there's still a lot more, like what Corey asked about, as far as how people are going to be able to watch it here if they aren't going over live to the UK. But a lot of people are going to be live at the UK, and that's unprecedented, the number we've done. And I think for Fight Forever, it can really help grow the business. It can be another feather in our cap. And we do great things at AEW every year, and the business has grown and changed every year. But I think this is something really special, and it's certainly a really big opportunity in a number of ways with AEW Fight Forever. So I think how we'd measure the success, there's a number of different ways, but it can help us a lot of different areas in the company, I think.
Hi, Tony. Stephanie Chase. I'm from Digital Spy. So, of course, I have to ask you a question about All In. So, maybe I'll get lucky with this one. But you, so you did such huge sales when you started the first week. Have they been going since then? Are you happy with that? And also, in the UK, it's turned into a bit of a destination week already. We've got Rev Pro running, Progress are running. So, any chance you're going to add to that with the Ring of Honor or Collision taping, or is it important for you for All In to be the actual first UK show?
I am certain it's very important for us, for All In, to be AEW's first ever UK show, and that's where we'll start. And it's a monumental event for us in AEW. So I'm very, very excited for it. And yeah, there's a lot of excitement in the UK wrestling community, other events popping up around it. And I think that's great. It's not that unusual for us, to be honest. I think our big pay-per-view events, we've started to see that. I know there were other wrestling events here in Las Vegas featuring some great wrestlers this weekend, and there'll be events, I'm sure, in Toronto, and there's always events typically around Chicago All Out. So I'm not, I'm not surprised that there's a lot of excitement in the UK about it, but I think it's a big thing. And then for ticket sales, I haven't released a new figure yet, but it's this will be the first time I've said it. I think we're roughly 65,000. It's very exciting, and we're well over the 8 million mark. And I think with the exchange rate, sometimes that changes with pounds. So when I say that, I mean $8 million going on a $9 million gate that we're closing in on. And it's very, very exciting for the company. It's a huge, huge milestone. It's by far the biggest gate in the history of AEW, and it's one of the biggest gates in the history of professional wrestling. It's, I believe, the largest gate ever in England for pro wrestling, and soon we will close in and have the biggest gate ever in the UK, period, for professional wrestling, because if the record was set in Wales. So, 8.1. Oh, okay. So we set the record. We did it. So 8.1 million pounds or dollars? Oh, yeah. Then we set the record. Okay. So we've set the record. Biggest ever in the UK. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. I didn't expect that. Thanks, Dave. Great. Okay. Well, we've set the biggest record for UK ticket sales ever for a pro wrestling event. And we're well over 8.1. That is very cool. That is very cool. Thank you. So it is one of the biggest events in the history of wrestling now. And I think it, as far as first week sales, it's up there, and we still have a lot of time left. Haven't announced anything on the card yet. So I think sky's the limit, and it's very, very big for the company. But, in terms of the business, it's been certainly unprecedented, not just for AEW's business, but honestly in the wrestling business for anybody to do this. Thank you.
Tony, so I was curious, we were talking about the sales and the numbers and this and that. So what was your initial goal for All In?
It's a great question. I always knew we could beat 50,000, and I wasn't sure we were going to beat 50,000 the first weekend, but I always believed we'd get to 50 to 60,000, and then we're well over 60 now, and about 65,000, I'd say. And I think that is amazing. And that's to have 65,000 paid fans and have months literally to still sell tickets. It's amazing. So definitely exceeded my expectations, but I always knew we would sell over 50, and I believed we would sell over 60. But I was really pleased we've already done that. Thank you.
Hey, Tony. Dominic D'Angelo at Free Shows. Very well told stories tonight, I thought. I wanted to kind of get your thought process on how it's been. It's been 4 years, obviously, and a lot of growing pains, a lot of positive stuff going on too. Wanted to kind of think, what do you think that you creatively something that you can improve on, but also what do you think that you really exceed at too?
Well, it's a great question. I think we can always refine and look and try to tighten things up. And sometimes everything fires perfectly. And other times, you look back and you say, what can I learn from this? And we've had a lot of strong shows this year where everything fired just about perfect. And tonight in the big matches, the big moments, I thought for whether it was the battle royal that started the show or the matches that ended the show, really was very, very high note, where it was just about as perfect as I could have hoped for that first match and those last few matches. So I was really pleased with the show. I think as far as what we can do going forward, the company's growing and changing a lot. I mean, we were a company that did 3 hours of TV live, 2 hours, and 1 hour that was often taped, sometimes live. But, really, we only did 3 hours of TV a week for the last year plus. In the first couple of years, we were doing 2 hours of TV a week. So to go to doing 5 hours, it's something we've never done before. It's going to really be a learning experience for us, but I'm also very, very excited about it because I think we have really exciting plans for it. I think the shows will be really good, and we've had some really strong dynamites this year, especially in recent weeks, some of our best episodes ever. And I think the pay-per-view tonight had some of the best action we've ever had in AEW. And when you're doing Double or Nothing, there's a really high expectation that you're going to put great stuff on the show, and there was a lot of great stuff on the show tonight. So I was very happy. So I'm one of the most critical, harsh people, and we'll certainly go back and take it apart and try and find things we can do better. And I think that's consistent with our approach. But overall, I'm really happy with the work we're doing. And I think we have a lot of really great people, the wrestlers and the staff and our fans who came together to make it a really good night for the company. So thanks. I appreciate it. And, there's a lot of smart people that were involved in getting together and putting a great show together tonight. And really, I thought I'm pretty happy about it. And I have to say, going into the next month, it's good timing for us to put on a good show that was very successful for us because there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up in June for AEW. Thank you, Dom.
All right. I actually do have a question that I was just thinking about while I was here, and this one I think you can answer. How did it feel for to invite Dr. Martha Hart here for the announcement, the opening ceremony for the Owen Hart Cup, and then also the fact that the finals will be at the in the Calgary Stampede, which is a pretty famous. That's where Stu Hart would run big shows, as well as obviously the famous Canadian Stampede show in 1997 was kind of in that area as well.
Yeah. Same venue, right? Yeah, same venue.
Same venue, the Saddle Dome. And also in regards to the reaction to the fans for Dr. Martha Hart, especially considering all that she has gone through in the past 20 years, and how do you feel about that? And basically in regards to making history in that sense, that you will be going to Calgary to crown the second ever Owen Hart Cup champions.
Well, I'm really excited about that, and I think it's very cool for the company that our Canadian tour will coincide with the Owen Hart Cup. I think it's very fitting that we've got Forbidden Door coming up, and Owen Hart is a former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. So there's a great history that goes with Owen Hart in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He never competed in AEW, but he did compete in New Japan. So having the Owen Hart Cup tournament kick off in Canada around Forbidden Door, we have this great partnership with New Japan, and he has been a great champion for them. So I think it's very fitting, and it adds a new twist to the Owen Hart Cup. Also, to have it in his home country, Canada, where he's one of the greatest wrestlers ever. His family, probably the greatest wrestling family in the history of Canada. And I have to say that going back to Calgary in a venue where there's so much history for the Hart family, it's very exciting. Dr. Martha Hart is such a wonderful, warm person. My dad met Martha tonight and really enjoyed meeting her, and she really seemed to enjoy meeting him. Oj has spent a little more time around my family. Oj actually came to the Jaguars game at Wembley last year, and Oj just studied in London and is a really, really bright young guy. And to have Martha and Oj and the Hart family here, it was great. And Dr. Martha Hart deserves the warm reception from the crowd, and I was really pleased that she got it. And we have great fans in AEW, and they gave her a great reception. And I think people are excited about the Owen in Canada. It's very fitting. The finals in Calgary. And, I'm not sure about this. I've had some nice talks. I'm hopeful. I spoke to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think it would be great, and they think it would be great. One of Owen Hart's great opponents, a rival. They've competed. Both former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could get Jushin Thunder Liger over to Canada, who's competed against Owen Hart, and he's competed in Canada, and he's even competed in Stampede Wrestling, Jushin Liger, and that would be something really neat. So to coincide with AEW in Canada and Forbidden Door and our partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and most importantly, the Owen Hart Cup tournament, I think it would be great if Jushin Thunder Liger can come over, and I'm optimistic that he'll be able to. So thank you for asking. Thank you. That was a gift from Martha. The hat was that was her hat, and she wanted to say the gangster line too. So God bless her.
Brandon Thurston, WrestleNomics again. The introduction of Collision comes on pretty short notice, at least to us. It was introduced at the WBD upfront a few weeks ago, and it's already going to debut mid-June. Is there anything more you can tell us about what led up to that deal happening? What led up to this show happening? I know you talked a little bit on Thursday about it was David Zasloff who came to you and wanting the deal. So just how did that come together?
Well, we had a call recently. I mean, relatively recent months, from the top executives at Warner Brothers Discovery interested in expanding the partnership, and they offered us 2 hours on Saturday night. And it was like kind of a throwback to me as a wrestling executive. When you hear they want to give you 2 hours primetime on TNT every week, that's a big deal. And when it's not just when it's the big boss, that is a callback to another era. And that's pretty amazing because, it was through relationships and through a lot of trust when I was unproven as a promoter and AEW had never run a single show, when Warner Brothers, WME at the time, took a chance on AEW, But now the company's changed. It's Warner Brothers Discovery. It's such an exciting time for Warner Brothers Discovery. And to have the boss of the entire studio, the boss of the entire company, David Zaslav, take an interest in AEW and say, I think we should have 2 hours of AEW Saturday night, 8 p.m. on TNT every week. I thought that was awesome. And then that made me want to step up and do another great show. And I love doing Dynamite every week, and it's my life. And I don't want to take anything away from that. But I really believe we can do another show and do Dynamite just as great, and maybe even fuel and do better shows than we've ever done before, and show up on Saturday nights and do great shows on Collision. And I am optimistic that it can actually be the greatest period in the history of the company. I think we were uniquely set up for this. I have a big roster of wrestlers. As far as how I'm going to feature them, nobody here has asked me about the mechanics of where the roster is going to go, or how I would allocate them to the different shows. And there's words that haven't been used in any of it. I'm glad. Thank you for not asking, because I wouldn't have answered it. So how I'll address the allocation of the different wrestlers across the different shows. We'll be speaking to that in the weeks to come, but I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be great. And I promise you won't lose anything from Dynamite. Dynamite's going to be just as great or better, but also Collision is going to be a really great show. And hopefully this will be the best period for AEW ever. So specifically to your question, I was really excited about that. I thought it came at a great time for the company. And knowing that June is going to be such a big month for us with the launch of Fight Forever and Forbidden Door and this tour of Canada and all the exciting things we have coming up, and where we're going over this summer, thinking, we can take that June and hopefully parlay this momentum to get even stronger going into All In, which is such an important business milestone and just historic milestone for the company. I was really excited about it. And like you said, it came together very quickly. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. I couldn't pass up on it.
More for Tony.
Tony Andres with Sporting News.
Hey.
Vegas has been a destination here. It's also Memorial Day weekend, which presents a lot of challenges because there's a lot going on. One, is Double or Nothing going to remain in Vegas? Is that something that you're considering? And two, if so, is there things that you want to build around this? I know there's the fan fests, but to make this like an annual thing where there's much more than just wrestling. There's more interactive. There's a lot more things that are going on in Vegas at the time.
Well, I guess a partnership with the UFC is out. I would say that, I love Las Vegas. I really, really have had such a great experience this week and all the shows we've done here. And I think this is a great venue for it. I haven't decided about next year's pay-per-views yet for any of them yet, but I think this is always a great venue for Double or Nothing, and certainly would be potentially great to just come back here to T-Mobile and do that. But there's a lot of great places certainly that are seeking our services. And, there's some places we've done TVs this year where they've been calling out for a pay-per-view, and I thought it was a pretty realistic shout. So something to consider, but certainly this has been a great venue for us, and I really love doing it here at T-Mobile. So I'm very open to staying here.
One other question
Please.
Is Anarchy in the Arena, is that going to be something that is a staple moving forward? Because it's 2 years in a row, Double or Nothing back to back. I don't know if it says Double or Nothing, but it feels like something that's very unique to AEW.
Well, so it's 4 years in a row of either Stadium Stampede or Anarchy in the Arena. And when we did Stadium Stampede was a product of doing Double or Nothing in Jacksonville. And that was one of those innovations we thought really added. The first Double or Nothing was a great show, but then we added something the next couple years with Stadium Stampede we thought really worked. And then things were really cooking last year with the BCC and Jericho Appreciation Society, the pro wrestling and the sports entertainment. And it was a really hot time for it. And it felt like we wanted to bring it here, but it was a much better play to bring it to the arena versus doing it in the stadium in Jacksonville. And we were long past doing a cinematic match. I mean, this is the way we want to do it. This probably just out with the fans brawling in the crowd, brawling in the ramp, brawling, on the ring. And so we brought Anarchy in the Arena here. And then this year so it's really the 4th year in a row at Double or Nothing that we've had this wild event. And I think here, certainly it would be Anarchy in the Arena. And if we ever were to do it in a stadium, then I think it would be Stadium Stampede. So it works both ways.
Cool, thanks. Hi, Tony. Matt Carlins, Wrestling Inc. Getting back to Collision, do you have any goals, expectations regarding TV ratings for those shows, and how do you think it will compare to Dynamite?
It's a great question. Really, at this point, we only have the shows we've done on Saturdays to go off of, and we've had some good events on Saturdays, but I think it's different because we've never really locked in a time slot. So I'm really optimistic. I would think it could do better than the best Dynamites on Saturdays. So we've had Saturday night Dynamites, and I look at those ratings, and I think, well, we've done some really good numbers on those Saturdays, and if we lock in a time slot and say we're doing this every week, then I think we can do those numbers or better, and especially knowing that it's going to be a fixed time slot. So I'm super optimistic, and I think Dynamite, we're going to keep doing the great shows we've been doing, and I believe the show can get stronger and stronger. Last week was a great rating, and going into the summer, like I was saying, with some of the sports competition and some of the reality competition changing and opening up, I think it's going to be a great time for Dynamite, and then feed off that momentum with a second show with Collision, as far as two 2-hour live shows, and keep Rampage going. And I really believe this can get the roster going and help Rampage get Rampage strong too. So as far as the ratings, I'm not sure because we haven't really had that much experience on Saturdays, but what we have had, we've had good ratings at times on Saturdays for doing Dynamite's, Rampage's, Battle of the Belts. And I really believe we can do even better than those. And those have been successful experiments that were so successful that they said, why don't we give you 2 hours every Saturday? And so I think that's going to bode really well for us, especially with all the great stuff we have planned for Collision.
Anyone who didn't ask questions?
Yeah. You haven't got you yet.
Hey, Tony, how's it going? Adrian Hernandez, Odyssey Sports. I know you talked to a million people, but I want to thank you when tickets went on sale. We had a phone interview. In that phone interview, I'd asked you about someone who's very familiar to Turner and TNT who would become a free agent, which is Goldberg. Obviously, all in, a lot of eyes, a lot of people are going to be in the building. I just want to know, since that, which was about 6 or 7 weeks ago, have you had a conversation with him just about anything, and nothing in particular, but just a conversation with him?
Yeah, I have talked to Bill. And, I mean, I wouldn't be that unusual. I've talked to Bill when he's not been under contract at times, and have a good relationship with Bill. So I have had a good conversation with him, but I've had a lot of great conversations with Bill. Bill's family have done a lot of great things in Jacksonville. Bill's related to the Wolfson family, who built the Wolfson's Children's Hospital in Jacksonville, and Bill's great former football star, and I work in football, and it's a big part of my life. So we have a lot in common, and we have a lot of mutual friends, and I have a really good relationship with Bill. So I like him a lot. As to what I've talked to him about, I would say that's just between the two of us. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah. And it was a good chat. I like Bill a lot. He's a great guy. Thank you. I haven't got you all day.
Yeah. Here we go.
Thank you, Tony. Joe Camparelli.
Hey, Joe.
Just with release of a new show, more TV time, video game, bigger gates, have you sensed a bigger sense of competition or intensity amidst the talent backstage?
I think it's an exciting time. It's always really competitive, and it's gotten more and more competitive. It was, when we were doing the show in Daly's place, which is kind of a small set, I think it took on maybe the mindset of a territory at times. We were doing the same place every week. A lot of the same fans were coming in because we were the first place to really open up and have fans in every week, but they were a lot of the people coming in Jacksonville. So like when you do a territory studio wrestling show, it took on that identity a little bit, I thought. And the crew really was very tight knit. And then going back on the road, I think it was hard. And then around the time we went back on the road, a lot of the biggest names in pro wrestling showed up around the same time. And like Brian Danielson, who's one of the people I'm referring to, he came here and he saw the company and he's seen it grow and he's grown with it. And a lot of the stars have grown and changed in that time. Like you said, the company has hit new milestones. So it's a great question. Like you said, record gates. We're going into new places for the first time, visiting new towns, and the video games coming out. So it's a very, very transformative year. And on top of all of it, now with Collision starting, it's just weeks away on June 17th, every Saturday, we're going to have a show. It's going to change my life. I know that. And I'm excited about it. And for a lot of wrestling fans, maybe not change everyone's life, but certainly it's going to affect their week. It's going to affect the way they think about their week. And I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool. And I believe the company's changing, but I think this is a great opportunity. It's very competitive. It has been. It was competitive in Daly's place, but I think when we went back on the road, things got a little more competitive as it opened up, and maybe everyone became a little less familiar. And I think now is a really exciting time because it's been competitive for all the spots on 3 hours of TV. We've got people coming in. We're bringing some stars back you haven't seen recently. That's no secret. We've talked about that. It's the creative concepts, the advertising. We've featured some people in the ads who you haven't seen on AEW TV recently, and I think that's exciting. So there's going to be competition for spot in the 5 hours, but there was already a lot of competition for spots in the 3 hours. So I think it's going to stay competitive, but in some ways this should and has, I believe, made a lot of people feel good that it's more opportunities for them. Maybe it's a little bit more realistic for these people who've really been working so hard to get a chance on TV. I think now there's a little bit more light at the end of that tunnel. They see, hey, this could work out for me. This is a big opportunity for me if I play my cards right and work really hard. Thank you.
Hey, Tony. John Archula with Screen Rant. First of all, thank you for your time and thank you for this amazing show tonight. I'm wondering about AEW All Access, what your impressions were of that show. Will there be a season 2? The show seemed to really give Sammy Guevara and Britt and Adam a boost. So I was wondering what your thoughts on the show were.
Thank you for asking. I thought AEW All Access went really well. It was very positively received by our network bosses. I don't know yet what the status will be for future seasons, but I think how well the show performed bodes well. It held up well throughout the season, and then we had a really nice bump for the season finale. So to go off with a high note, and I think it did a .12, which was great, and for the last episode. So it started hot and ended hot. So hopefully bodes well for the show for the future. I would certainly be up to do another season, future seasons, and profile some of the great wrestlers we've already introduced and potentially some different people in addition. So I really enjoyed working on All Access, and I would love to do that again. Thank you.
Hi, Tony. Amy Nemedy with WrestleJoy. Congratulations on a great show. So when we look at Double or Nothing, we often talk about where it all began. In Las Vegas, you've had this is your 5th Double or Nothing. You've had an incredible time with a lot of achievements in AEW. And I was curious if that goes into how you book Double or Nothing, the show. So for example, tonight during the 4 Pillars match, we had a lot of moments where each of the 4 pillars used moves that their mentors had used, for example, or we had spots in Anarchy in the Arena that called back to the very first Double or Nothing. So I was curious, when you book Double or Nothing, do you look back and reflect on the history of AEW and big spots and moments, and specifically book the show to call back and kind of tell a story of celebration of AEW?
Yeah, not every single match, but there were definitely moments on the card where the whole 4 Pillars match in and of itself is looking back at the history of AEW. And then, like you said, when they started hitting their mentors' moves, that was a great signature moment and a signature match that really called back to the history of AEW. Anarchy in the Arena is a match that has history. And like I said, it's evolved from Stadium Stampede. And as our fans came back, Stadium Stampede evolved from year 1 to year 2, where we brought it back and actually brought it out into the live arena, which nobody was expecting. And then from that, it evolved into Anarchy in the Arena when we moved back into the live arenas every week. And I think there were a lot of callbacks to the history of AEW in that match, and very fitting to go back to the first Double or Nothing, where AEW really started. At the very first show we did was here in Vegas, and that show ended culminating with Jon Moxley arriving in AEW and throwing Kenny Omega off the giant poker chips. And then tonight, here they were back out there again on the Double or Nothing set. So it was a great callback, in Anarchy in the Arena. Even it's interesting because the violence and intensity of the Blackpool Combat Club, even looking how they changed over a year, because Brian said he wanted to look at the intensity, but I think that's probably because when Brian looks within himself, he doesn't want to admit now he's grown a lot over a year. But the fact is, Brian was the one who stopped him from stopped Eddie from setting Chris on fire last year. And now at where Brian's at right now, I think Brian would have probably lit the match. So, so I think, that also showed growth. Maybe not growth, but it definitely showed evolution and change in Brian. And then in the opening battle royal, which was so great and I really enjoyed it, I thought there were a lot of callbacks to great historical moments, not just the rivalries in AEW right now, seeing, of course, Swerve and Keith going at it, and with Brian Cage and Dustin getting involved as they have in that recently, or with Juice and Jay and Ricky Starks, and keeping that situation going. And it's an interesting thing happening there, but also going back to old rivalries. Just an example, Orange Cassidy and Kip were going at it, and they've had a lot of battles, whether it was a different arcade anarchy, and where Statlander referenced that earlier when she made her return, jumping out of the stuffed animals, and really how that's evolved and changed. And then Orange and Kip, that rivalry had gone into the All Atlantic Championship, and they'd had that great match, and Orange, from the All Atlantic Championship to the International Championship, has made a lot of defenses. And I think you actually noted earlier some of his top opponents and some of his best matches as the champion during this great run he's had. They came face to face with him in this match, dealing with Lee, and in particular Big Bill near the end. And like I said, Kip Sabian, and a lot of great stuff. And of course, how he's wrestled Bandito and then became a great partner with Bandito and the Best Amigos. I thought that was great. So a lot of great callbacks, a lot of great moments. Jay White eliminating Commander. I thought Commander had a great showcase early in the match, but then his elimination was a callback to Jay White's debut in AEW. So yeah, there's a lot of thought put into the show, I think. And if ever you're going to look at back at the history of the company and try to put those kind of moments in for the fans, this is where you want to do it, here where it all started. So I thought that was very, very cool. Well, it's great being with you all. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you for all staying here, and I appreciate everybody coming to cover the show. Without all of you, this really wouldn't be possible. When we started AEW, a lot of you were covering the company when it was just an idea. We had never done an event yet, and then a lot of you were at the first Double or Nothing when there was no track record whatsoever other than the great work the wrestlers had done before they came to AEW. So I just wanted to thank you all, and really from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. It means a lot, and a lot of you had a lot to do with us getting off the ground. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.